This is Brandon. I am doing my first webinar for you guys today about search engine optimization, and hopefully everybody gets to learn a little bit about it and learn about the future of what SEO holds in store for everybody. Please bear with me. This is my first webinar, and I hope everybody here is viewing and can hear me properly. If not, let me know. I'm going to set up on the side so everyone can start chatting and asking questions. So feel free to ask any questions at any time you may have about SEO, new strategies, things like that. Let me set this up. Give me 1 second. Okay. On the right-hand sidebar, I believe you should see a place that allows you to ask questions. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know at any time. This is more about the future of SEO, what's going on in 2016 and how things have changed in recent years, and a lot has gone on. A lot is changing in the SEO realm, and Google is always trying to stay one step ahead. They don't like people that do SEO because it manipulates the search results and gets people ranking really quickly, and that loses out Google from a lot of money from their AdWords spend. So they're not too keen on people doing SEO, but they know it exists and they know it's out there and it's not going anywhere. People say SEO is going to die out or is dead, but as long as there's a search engines, it's never really going to die because nobody wants to see, when you Google something, a page full of ads. You want to see creative, unique content. So that's why SEO is never really going to die. People are always going to be looking for new ways to market themselves, and they don't want to see a page full of ads because that would just deter you from using Google and a lot of people would then switch over to another search engine. So that's kind of why SEO really isn't going to go anywhere. It changes and evolves all the time. SEO is always changing and it continues to change on a daily basis. Google's always trying to figure out new ways to find out how people are manipulating the search results and patch that up because, like I said, again, Google just wants to make as much money as possible. They don't like people doing SEO because that's not part of the revenue stream. They want people doing Google AdWords and paid ads and things like that where they can actually generate some revenue. So Google's not that keen, and the future does kind of look like more towards mobile, especially nowadays, and towards apps. And get into all that in a minute and definitely keep going about that stuff. So apps definitely are the future, but before I start getting into the future, I want to kind of talk about the current marketplace of SEO, what it's been through in recent years, especially with algorithm updates and changes and things like that. But pretty much SEO is still the same as it was 10 or 15 years ago, but now Google's more keen on the types of links you're building. It doesn't want to see spammy content. Google's become more aware of what works in SEO and kind of patch that up and makes people that do SEO work a little bit harder to get those rankings, but it's still easily obtainable. And same goes, and this doesn't just apply to Google, it applies to Bing, Yahoo, all the other search engines. There's millions of them out there, but the big ones it really applies to is Google. Bing and Yahoo kind of supplement some search traffic, but for the majority of it, you're going to get about 70% of your traffic is going to come from Google. Percent of this traffic comes from Bing and Yahoo combined, and then the rest of it just comes from social media, articles, and other channels like that. But yeah, so that's kind of how it is right now. But SEO is still heavily dominated between on-page and off-page optimization. On-page optimizations, I'll go through them kind of quickly because I want to talk more about the future of SEO, but we can talk about the basics. On-site optimization really starts with researching keywords, finding good keywords, and then placing them in the page title tag and the meta description. Hopefully everyone knows some basic coding to be able to change those or edit those, but some changes to that. Keyword research, always start off by using the Google Keyword Planner, see what keywords are profitable, meaning what keywords you think are good, type them into the Google Keyword Planner, which is a free tool, and then see how much monthly search volume there is for those keywords, because you never know, most keywords that you think are good don't really have much search volume. So it's really a smart idea to throw your keywords in there, check the plural, synonyms, any relevant keywords like that, go to Google, just start typing in your keyword. You'll see related keywords that pop up. At the bottom, it shows related keywords as well, or related searches that you could use as keywords, so you can really get a good idea of what keywords to use and which ones not to use. But some changes in recent years, especially recently, is that a lot of people think that page title tags and meta descriptions are only limited to 60 characters and 160 characters, but in fact, meta descriptions and page titles aren't limited to that amount of characters. You could have more characters or less characters. And in actuality, page title tags and meta descriptions aren't really calculated by pixel or by characters. It's really calculated by pixels. And just in case no one knows what page title tags or meta descriptions are, those are what show up in the Google search results. So the page title tag is a blue clickable link in Google. The meta description is the black text under that. And so the blue clickable link used to be thought is 60 characters or less. That was the limit. And after that, and then the meta description was thought to be 160 characters or less. But recently, a tool called Screaming Frog, which is really useful, figured out that it's not calculated by characters. It's actually calculated by pixels, because if you do notice when you search in Google, you'll see that whatever the keywords are that you are searching for, they become bolded, and that takes up more space. So and if you use all capital letters, that takes up more space. So you're not given the full 60 characters. You might be given 50 characters, especially if you use big capital letters like B's or C's or D's in your page title. That really takes up a lot of room. So the best way to calculate it is to say you get on average about 500 to 512 pixels for your page title tag. And same goes with the meta description. If you search for something on Google, and then you have those keywords appear in the Google search results in the meta description, they're going to be bolded, and once again, that takes up more pixel room. So you're really not getting the full 160 characters. You're getting about 920 pixels within the meta description. So that's something to be aware of. And if you do go over those pixels or the character length, depending on how you look at it, but in the future, it really is pixels. It's not characters. They'll get truncated, meaning that Google's going to cut it off after 60 characters or 512 characters in your page title tag, 512 pixels, sorry about that, and it will cut it off, truncate it, meaning cutting it off after 920 pixels in your meta description. So just be aware of that. You want to really write the meta description for humans and the page title for humans. The page title, you want to try to include all your major keywords in there, but also make it readable for humans, because once again, Google really puts a lot of weight in the page title tag. Meta description is where you kind of want to write a description about that page. So it should be about 2 sentences on average. One sentence should be what the page is about, and then the next sentence should be about like a strong call to action, getting people to actually click on your ad or your search result versus the other 10 search results. And there's a lot more than 10 search results. Most people just think there's only 10 search results in Google, but there's really sometimes 15 or 20, because if you look at the ads add up to about 5, 10, sometimes more than that. That just adds more exposure or less time for people to click on your Google search result. Also, local search results are taking up space. So if you're in the Google local search, or if local map shows up, so if you're doing a search for pizza places in Los Angeles, you'll see that a 3-pack, a 7-pack used to show of the results, but a 3-pack it's called, with the map will show the top 3 local results, which pushes down the organic results even further. So now you get ads and you're getting local results plus the 10 organic results. So there's a lot of things on that page. And then sometimes Google will have images, will have videos, will have Google Shopping. So there's a lot that goes into it. So just be aware of that when you're writing those page title tags and meta descriptions, that just because you think there's only 10 results, there's really probably around 15 or 20 or more. So it's really tough nowadays. You have to be hyper competitive, and that's kind of the future of Google. It's trying to fill up or take up as much ad space as possible in the search results, because that's how they generate all their income. Without ad revenue, they're not making any money or nearly any money. And it's going to be interesting to see how they do it on mobile, because they've been trying, but when they do post ads, there's not that much room on cell phones or tablets, so you can only put 1 or 2 ads before it pushes down the organic results below the fold. Right now in desktop, you might see 1 or 2 organic listings. You hardly see 3 above the fold. You have to scroll down to see them. In desktop, right now they're testing around, so it really depends on who's looking at desktop, where you're looking at it from, because Google also really personalizes the results because they want to offer the best results possible for you. So they're trying to personalize it and make it to where they think you're going to be interested in it. I see someone asked a question. So I suppose so if you want to leave questions, feel free to. The first question is from Alex. Is there a reason not just to overload my meta tags? And definitely do not want to do that, because that's called keyword stuffing or stuffing your meta tags, and you don't want to do that. You want to have original. So once again, page title tags, meta descriptions, you want to have original ones on every page. You don't want to have duplicates at all. You want to make them unique. Even if it is an About Us or Contact Us page, you still want to make it unique. Google looks at that, Bing, Yahoo, all the search engines look at that and want to see unique meta tags, page title tags, schema tags, Facebook Open Graph, because if it's repetitive, then you're just losing out also on valuable real estate, because within those title tags, each page is an opportunity to rank for a multitude of keywords. And if you're stuffing, or if you overload the page meta tags with too many keywords, Google's going to get confused and not know what that page is really about. You want to really hone in and make each page as relevant as possible. So if it means splitting up the page into 10 separate pages, that's hyper-targeted about each individual page. That's going to be a lot better than having one general page. Like e-commerce stores, they don't just have a category page. They break down each product or each category into multitudes of products. And that's kind of how you want to think about your website. Even if you don't have products or services, that's a good example. You want to break down your services as a generic service and then break it down into individual services and have each one have an individual page. And you can do that for any type of website you have, but definitely think about the more pages you have, the better off, and the more relevant you can make each individual page about whatever target keywords you're going after, the better it's going to rank, because that's what Google's ultimately after, is relevancy. Relevancy is the biggest ranking factor, is how relevant is this page to these keywords without over spamming it, like Alex is asking, is do I want to overload my meta tags? And you definitely don't want to overload them. You want to keep them to the, like I said, 160 character meta description, or 920 pixels is actually what it should be, and the page title tag 60 characters. But if you're really looking at 512 pixels is actually the true amount. But a lot of people don't really look at the pixels or have a pixel calculator, so 60 characters and 160 is fine to go off. But if you really want to get down to it and hone in on the real science of it and make sure that your page title tags and meta descriptions don't get truncated, then use pixels. And hopefully that answers your question, Alex. If you have another question, let me know. And I also see another question from Max asking, suppose I want to rank for a page for a keyword I've researched. What are the best on-site optimization tips to tell Google what page is most important for this keyword? How important is anchor text here versus title meta tag? So I guess this is asking more about on-page factors. And the same on-page factors haven't really changed in the past. I mean, they've changed and they've added some on-page factors, but the main ones are page title tag, meta description, meta keywords. A lot of people, or the search engines, say they don't look at it, but I feel that it's another place to just add more relevancy to your website. So as long as you're not spamming it, it's perfectly okay. Even if they do skip over it, some search engines don't. There's millions of other search engines out there. Not every search engine is Google, Bing, or Yahoo, and they all could bring in traffic. So just think about that. It only takes a few extra minutes to add meta keywords, and I would limit the meta keywords to 10 keywords at most. You don't, like I was saying, the more relevant that page is to those keywords, the higher it's going to rank. So you don't want to just go stuffing those. And also, you want to have header tags. You want to have header tags kind of structure your website. So they start off with H1 saying this is really important. This is what my website's about. So the H1 tag is usually your website name. H2, I would usually say whatever the main keywords of that page are about. So H2 tag kind of mimics the page title tag in essence, but for all these, you want to change the keyword. So the page title tag, once you've done the keyword research, you want to use you want to put the keywords that you know have the most monthly searches into the page title tag. So if you're doing pizza places in Los Angeles and you see pizza place versus pizza places, and you see one or the other gets more searches, I would put the one that gets the most searches in the page title tag. The one that gets the least searches maybe in the header tag or the meta keywords or the meta description. So it varies it up. You want to mix it up as much as possible. Also, more on-page factors is alt tags. Images can't, or Google can't read images. So you want to put alt tags describing what that image is. And here's another place where you can kind of subtly add your keyword in here, making it look natural, but explaining what that image is in the alt tag. Another factor is having your the URL structure. So you want to make it a clean URL. So www.yourwebsite.com/your keywords, but you don't want to stuff it. So you want to just keep it simple and straight to the point. So if it's about best pizza places in Los Angeles, you might just put pizza place Los Angeles. You don't want to put best or all these other keywords. It used to work in the past, but now it kind of looks spammy, and people or Google's aware of this, and a lot of people are aware of it. Also, another factors are Google or schema. So you want to add rich snippets if possible. Not all the time can you add schema or rich snippets, but if the opportunity arises, definitely add that. Facebook open graph cards and Twitter cards are really useful. So if someone shares your site and puts your URL into Facebook open graph card or tags tell you, put this as the title, put this as the image, put this as a description, so you kind of control how your content is shared on social media, which is huge nowadays because it's really easy, or not easy to go viral, but it's easier than ever. And if you write good content, if you have something persuasive or something useful that other people aren't writing about, then you want to make sure that you have your Facebook and Twitter open graph cards properly optimized with the way you want to say, the way you want to look, the feel of it, the images you want shared, because that all helps influence if the page goes viral, and it could or not. Then some other things would be having a sitemap helps out. Having the HTTPS is another ranking factor that Google said they look at, but it's not that big of a strong of a factor, but it definitely helps out a lot, or not a lot, but a little bit. So those are definitely really important. You also want to interlink your pages because Google looks at your bounce rate, looks at how long the time on site. So linking from maybe saying your service page to a category or another service page, or especially when you're writing articles or blog posts, you want to write content. Sorry, just looking at these answers or the questions. This is my first webinar on Google Hangouts, so sorry, bear with me. But so hopefully that answers the questions about on-site optimizations, what Google's looking for nowadays. Still some more things. If anyone else has more questions, feel free to hop in anytime. Hopefully this all makes sense and I'm not getting a little too advanced, but Google is definitely looking, or so Google in the past has let out some algorithm updates. Google updates their algorithm regularly to make sure people aren't manipulating or make sure they have control of it. And recently they put out a few ones, the Penguin, Panda, and Hummingbird, and Caffeine, and mobile versions. I'm sure hopefully you've heard of some of these, but some of them are more important than others, whereas the Panda and Penguin algorithm update are still affecting websites to this day. They keep updating it or releasing new patches, trying to fix it, because Penguin, in essence, was a way to clean up web spam, that low-quality backlinks, pretty much the low-quality backlinks. Panda was a way to clean up low-quality content, meaning duplicate content found on the web. Google wasn't too fond of that because they don't want you to search for how to fix my car battery and then you get the same 10 articles. You want 10 unique articles from different perspectives, so that's like unique content is really key, and content isn't going anywhere. Especially in 2016, content is becoming more and more important. Keywords are kind of becoming lesser important because you really want to write for the human, write for a person, and then have the keywords supplement that. Because even if you look nowadays, I see all the time pages that rank for keywords where they don't even mention the keyword in the content, in the title, description, anywhere in the coding. It just ranks naturally. And that's kind of how Google is going nowadays, is trying to figure out what people are searching for and really personalize the search results as much as possible, because the more personalized it is, the more likely you are to click on one of the search results or continue using Google, or hopefully click on their ads, which will make them some money. But that's definitely where Google's going towards in the future. They've released an algorithm the last year called Hummingbird, and that's where they're trying to actually understand the human language. It's called the schematic word language. And Google, instead of people in the past, people would search for, say, best pizza place, Los Angeles. But nowadays with smartphones and tablets, and even on desktop, there's a little microphone on Google where you can just speak to search. So Google's adding it, trying to figure out, people aren't just saying best pizza place, Los Angeles. People would say, where can I get the best pizza in Los Angeles? Or find me the best pizza in Los Angeles when they're speaking into their devices. So this adds prepositions and other words that Google's not really used to understanding. And that's really where the future of SEO is, and the future of ranking in search engine is figuring out how not to just rank for specific keywords, because that's really going to go away, but actually figure out how to rank for long tail sentences, solving people's problems, things like that. And now also more than ever is link building quality standards. Google's really looking at the quality backlinks that you're putting up there and where they're coming from, how relevant they are to your website, if they're do follow versus no follow backlinks, if they're authoritative websites, if they look at, there's different tools that help you look at that stuff. So if you have the Moz toolbar that shows you Moz domain authority and page authority, you can look at Majestic SEO, citation and trust flow. You can look at Alexa ranking. You can look at Google page rank, even though that's not the best. But all those will give you quick insights onto who's linking to you, if they're authoritative websites, if they're quality websites. You want to look at the anchor text that people are linking to you from, because you don't want it now. It used to be good to have your keywords as the main anchor text, meaning the clickable link to your website. But nowadays, you want to vary the is up as much as possible. I see another question just came in. Someone's asking if there's a way to rank for emojis. They're a wine dealer and they want to see if they can rank, or they're entering the wine emoji into Google. And that's something new, and that's something that I'm not 100% sure on. I don't want to say that I know or don't know it, but I definitely see in the past few months, Facebook and other social media and Instagram are starting to pick up emojis and actually show them on posts. So that might start becoming a ranking factor, but not really sure what's going to happen with those. That's still something really new, and the only real way for people that do SEO is just to test it out and see what works and what doesn't work, and start trying to build a page or a wine page like you were asking about with some emojis, and see if you could actually rank those emojis, have emojis as anchor text and keyword, or is in your backlinks, and see if that helps out. Have emojis in your like all the on-site optimizations and the page title tag, the meta description, the meta keywords, the schema, the Facebook open graph, Twitter cards. That might help rank an emoji, but in reality, I'm not really too sure on that yet. I will hopefully by the next webinar, I'm going to try to do these regularly, and hopefully by the next one, I'll do some testing and see what I could find, but it might take a little bit longer because I haven't really seen too much about emojis. I just know that they are really picking up, but I think emojis are kind of general kind of things where just in the SEO world, you don't want to rank for the word wine, because wine is so generic. You don't know if someone's complaining about their children whining, or they're looking to buy wine, or looking to see how wine is made. So you'd rather go after more long tail keywords if your wine dealings are saying best wine or most fruity full or flavorful wine. Same goes for emojis. If you're doing a thumbs up, it's going to be tough to really rank for the keyword thumbs up or the emoji thumbs up. It's just going to be probably a Wikipedia article or a generic article explaining what that emoji is. Maybe dictionary.com could rank for emojis, but other than that, I don't really see that much of a value ranking for an emoji, other than just the intrinsic value of knowing that you're ranking for that. But in terms of search traffic or qualified search traffic, I don't think it's really going to come from just emojis, unless emojis start having longer tail emojis where you could add content into it. But we'll just have to see, because emojis, once again, Google can't really read images, but emojis aren't the same as images, but they still are tough for them to read and comprehend. So we'll just see what happens, and that will be the future, and we'll just have to wait and see. But like I said, who really knows? Google kind of makes up their playing ground. They kind of pick and choose what works, what doesn't work, what changes they're going to do in the future. They don't really alert you about changes. Sometimes they do, like with the mobile-friendly update they did in April of this year. They told webmasters that if you don't have a mobile-friendly website, we're going to not show you in the mobile search results, which is kind of the first time they really announced a big algorithm update, because they wanted webmasters to update their websites because they didn't want to lose all the search volume, or they didn't want to not show websites on mobile devices, but they knew that mobile devices are becoming so prevalent nowadays that around 30 to 40% on average, just on a typical website, the traffic will come from tablets or smartphones, and every day or every month I just see that growing. So Google knows that's the future, and they want to make sure that websites are mobile friendly. But other than that, really with their algorithm updates, there's no real warnings or update, or they don't really let you know because they don't want you to know this is what's going to happen. They just want you to play by their rules and read up on Google Webmaster Guidelines and see what works or what's considered white hat to SEO, white hat to Google versus black hat SEO, which you want to completely avoid. And that's going to be about it for this week's webinar. If anyone else has any questions, you could always email me or contact me directly, and I'm going to be trying to do these more often. My email is Brandon, BRANDON, at SEOoptimizers.com. Once again, BRANDON at SEOoptimizers.com. So feel free to ask any questions, leave any feedback, because like I said, this is my first webinar, so I want to make sure that you guys can hear me, everything's easy to work with, everything's good for communications, and if so, we'll continue using this platform, and if not, we can switch to another one. So just feel free to leave it in the comments from Meetup or from Google Plus or Facebook or however you found this Meetup. Just feel free to let me know your feedback, and I hope you enjoyed it and got a lot out of it, and I look forward to doing many more in the future. So thanks everyone for joining me, and I will see you guys next week.